Saturday football game featuring Pittsburgh versus Penn State.
NCAA college football tonight. The number 1 ranked Pittsburgh Panthers featuring Heisman Trophy candidate Tony Dorsett against the Nittany Lions of Penn State. Western Pennsylvania for the Pittsburgh-Penn State game, the 76th meeting. Penn State has won the last 10 in a row. Pittsburgh number 1. Three Rivers Stadium sold out for over a month. The weather unseasonably mild. However, we do now have a light rain, which is falling on the tartan turf here at the home of the world champion Pittsburgh Steelers. And the Panthers want to become the number 1 team in college football, and here they are. The first time in 39 years that they have been ranked number 1 in the United States. They're averaging 33 points a game, coached by young Johnny Majors, who has created miracles here, the magic including Tony Dorsett. Joe Paterno's Penn State Nittany Lions, 7-3 on the year. Won their first game against Stanford, lost the next 3, and they are on a 6-game winning streak. And they hope to upset Pittsburgh tonight. They've won 37, Pittsburgh 35 with 3 ties. Last year, the game wound up in a 7-6 victory for the Nittany Lions. Both bowl-bound. Pittsburgh going to the Sugar Bowl against Georgia. Penn State going to the Gator Bowl against Notre Dame. A capacity crowd of over 50,000 equally divided. 25,000 fans for each team. And this is the type game that actually divides members of families. That's right, because some go to Penn State, some go to Pittsburgh. But it's an annual affair, and I'm glad to be here tonight with a man that knows all about number 1 ranking when he was at Oklahoma, Bud Wilkinson.
Well, Chris, in addition to the national championship at stake and the domination of Eastern football, we have the challenge of a dynasty. Joe Paterno the last 10 years has dominated with his Penn State team Eastern football. Prior to that, it was a little more wide open. Ben Schwartzwalder did it at Syracuse for a little while. Red Blake did it at Army. But Johnny Majors, since he's been at Pittsburgh, has been gradually building to where he's ready to make the challenge tonight. And if Pittsburgh wins, it will not only be the national championship for them, but perhaps a new beginning era for Pittsburgh again to be the champions of the East.
Bud, we look forward to your commentary. And ladies and gentlemen, on the sideline tonight is the sports director of our ABC affiliate here in Pittsburgh, Channel 4 WTIE. And we're pleased to bring in Steve Zabriskie with some comments on the Heisman Trophy candidate, Tony Dorsett. Steve?
Thank you very much, Chris. And as Chris mentioned, as the sports director for Channel 4, the ABC station here in Pittsburgh, I've had an opportunity for the last couple of years to see both Penn State and the Pitt Panthers in action. And hopefully by being down here on the sideline, near the players and close to the action, I'll be able to give you a little more insight into what exactly is happening in this most important game. It is a big game. National attention is on it because of the number 1 ranking of the Pitt Panthers, and eyes will be on it for that reason. Also, a lot of eyes tonight will be on number 33 for the Pitt Panthers, perhaps the greatest running back ever to play the game of football, Tony Dorsett. The ironic thing here is that Dorsett, when he was in high school, would have preferred to go to Penn State. He felt, however, that they did not recruit him heavily enough, so he wound up with Johnny Majors at Pittsburgh, and consequently he became the greatest runner in college football. On this play, a typical Tony Dorsett run against Navy this year, Dorsett broke Archie Griffin's all-time career rushing record to be the greatest runner in football. He has a shot tonight, his final regular season game, at 18 career NCAA all-time records. He currently holds 9 NCAA records and 27 Pitt school offensive records. Among those NCAA records he already holds, the most career carries, 1,036 times coming into tonight's game. Also, the most career yardage, a whopping 5,858 yards, just 142 yards short of an almost unbelievable total of 6,000. And He's the only player in college football ever to rush for over 1,000 yards in 4 consecutive seasons. Tony Dorsett, a big story here tonight. Back to Chris Schinkel.
This Pittsburgh Penn State primetime special at ABC Sports Exclusive is brought to you by Chevrolet and Chevrolet dealers who invite you to see and drive Chevrolet's totally new 6-passenger car, the new Chevrolet. By Texaco on behalf of independent Texaco retailers who are working to keep your trust by offering top quality tires. By Rolaids, when excess stomach acid causes heartburn, acid indigestion, Rolaids. It consumes 47 times its weight in excess stomach acid. And by Hager Slacks, mix and match with Hager Leisure Tops and new Hager Sports Coats. For a versatile wardrobe at reasonable prices, Hager, America's best-known name in slacks. The kickoff coming up here in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Both teams are really anxious to play, ladies and gentlemen. Penn State had won the toss, electing to receive on the right. They're in the deep blue jerseys, while on the left in white, the Pittsburgh Panthers, number 1 in the nation. Pitt kicked off. Fortunately for all of us, it went out of bounds. So with a 5-yard penalty, Pittsburgh's Carson Long, one of the premier kickers in America, number 5, will this time boot it from his own 35 instead of the 40. There you're looking at the specialty team, the kickoff team. A procedure penalty shown there by the referee, Paul Bertha, native of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Now we look at Carson Long.
It gives you some idea how really fired up they are when a kicker of that caliber kicks it out of bounds on the opening kickoff.
There you see Carson teeing it up. He can set a few records of his own tonight. Pittsburgh with a very strong kicking game. In fact, both teams have fine punters. Holding his hand up. Listen to these fans. Penn State on the near side, Pittsburgh on the far side. There's the kick. Rich Maudie is deep. Number 48. He's at the 9, 10, 15. Coming out to the 20. Slipping on the tartan turf, which is a little wet as it comes out to the 24-yard line, where they will have a 1st and 10. Jeff Paluzzi on the tackle. Let's look at the Penn State Nittany Lion offense.
Rich Maudie, split end, Long Island. Brad Benson, offensive tackle, Altoona, Pennsylvania.
Ron Archena, offensive guard, Belmont, Pennsylvania.
Keith Thorning, offensive center, Allentown, Pennsylvania.
Dave Shukri, offensive guard, Lindenhurst, Long Island.
In the backfield, Chuck Facina's the quarterback. Number 1444 is Cephalor Torrey, 39. And number 29, Steve Geis, carried on the play from the 24, almost out to the 30. Jeff Delaney of Upper St. Clair, Pennsylvania, the monster man, number 14, was in defensively for the undefeated Pittsburgh Panthers. And their cheerleaders look like winners, too. So with the ball at the 29, it's going to be a 2nd down and 5. Second snap of the ball game, Bud.
Joe Paterno feels they've got to control the ball. When they've got it, Dorsett can't be running with it.
And for the second time, Steve Geis carries. Let's hear the backfield of Penn State introduce themselves.
Jimmy Cephalor, flanker, Pittston, Pennsylvania. Top Torrey, fullback, Syracuse, New York.
Steve Geis, tailback, Flemington, PA.
Chuck Facina, quarterback, McKees Ross, Pennsylvania.
All right. They now have a 3rd down and 5 at the 29. No score in the game. Penn State in the dark blue jerseys. 7-3 on the year. Facina, the quarterback. Not enough for the 1st down. Steve Geis, who figured in on all of the snaps, was stopped by Leroy Felder at approximately the 34. They needed to get out to the 39, so it's going to be a punting situation. In the punt with a 34.5-yard average is Scott Fitzke, who also plays flanker. He's off to the right of your screen. No wind inside Three Rivers Stadium as Willie Taylor, number 29, is deep. Oh, a beautiful punt, exceeding his average on the year. Coming way back to the 19. Willie Taylor calling for a fair catch. That is good. Now, let's hear from the offensive members of the number 1 ranked team in the nation, Pittsburgh.
Hi, my name is Gordon Jones, wide receiver, North Versailles, PA.
Hi, my name is John Hanhauser. I'm an offensive tackle from Erie, PA. Hi, my name is Matt Carroll. I'm an offensive guard from Middleborough High School, Norwood, PA.
John Pelusi. I'm a center. I'm from Youngstown Cheney High School, Youngstown, Ohio.
Tom Brazosa, offensive right guard, Newcastle, Pennsylvania.
All right, from the 18, 1st and 10, and carrying on the plays, the number 1 runner ever, Tony Dorsett, Aliquippa, Pennsylvania. 5'11", 192 pounds, number 33. You might see him in 3 different spots. The fullback up close to the quarterback, or the tailback behind, or perhaps even a wing or a halfback in the split set. And the carry was out to the 22-yard line. Tony gained 4. It's 2nd down and 6.
Dorsett's average against everybody else is far, far greater than his average against Penn State.
All right, Cavanaugh, the quarterback, the junior from Youngstown, Ohio, caught for a loss back to the 20, and let's hear from the backfield of Pittsburgh. Here they are.
Willie Taylor, wide receiver, Verona, New Jersey.
Bob Hutton, Marlboro, New Jersey, running back. Anthony Dorsett, running back, Aliquippa, Pennsylvania. Matt Cavanaugh, quarterback, Youngstown, Ohio.
All right, 3rd down and 8 for Pittsburgh. Cavanaugh, the keeper, the quarterback, coming out now to about the 26. They needed 8. It's short of a 1st down as Randy Sidler, number 75, in on the tackle for the Nittany Lion defense, always considered tough.
Joe Paterno feels that the way to stop Dorsett is to keep him from going wide. They're going to gamble a little bit on his straight-ahead shots because they don't think they like to use him that much. They will try to keep him from getting the ball wide.
Larry Swider is the punter, number 6 in the country with a 44.8 average, and was fielded by Rich Motti, number 48, at approximately the 31. A 39-yard punt. Let's take a break, and then we'll return to Pittsburgh. Back again at Three Rivers Stadium, a capacity crowd, 55 degrees, a light mist falling. Rained earlier in the evening. The field was covered, the tartan turf. It's in good condition right now, but around 10 o'clock Eastern time, heavy rains are expected. 2nd time Penn State has had the ball. No score. 1st and 10 from their own 34. Monty and Cephalo are potential pass receivers. The I formation. 39 is Torrey. It goes to the deep back. Geit, number 29. And the very fluid and fast-moving lateral Pittsburgh defense forces him out of bounds as we look at the defensive line. Wilimanowski, who played at Hopewell High School with Tony Dorsett, Parrish, Al Romano, an Outland Trophy candidate, Randy Holloway, a great sacker of the quarterback. Weatherington, along with Kramer and Delaney, are the linebackers. And Wilson Jury with 7 interceptions, number 31, in the backfield as we now look at number 14, Busina, on a 2nd and 9. Incomplete. Covering on the play, Bob Jury, the person we said has 7 interceptions coming into the ball game. It was intended for number 21, Tom Donovan, so it brings up a 3rd down and 9 in a defensive struggle here with no score. We have 10 minutes and 55 seconds remaining in the first quarter, Bud.
The Pittsburgh defense is basically a 5-2, but they change the alignment all of the time, and their basic scheme is to put defensive men opposite all the offensive men to give the linebackers, Kramer and Weatherington, absolute freedom of movement.
3rd down and 9 for Penn State from the 35. Completed pass to Mickey Schuler, the number 1 receiver for Penn State with 19 catches and 3 touchdowns. But it's a punting situation again. James Kramer in on the tackle at approximately the 44.
Excuse me, Chris, rather unusual thing. The number 1 receiver for each team is the tight end. Schuler for Penn State and Corbett for Pittsburgh.
Here's the punt. Again, a beauty. Willie Taylor is deep, and he is brought down where he caught the last punt from Penn State at the 18. The punt traveled 37 yards. There's the crowd, equally divided, 25,000 feet. We're back again at Three Rivers Stadium. 10 minutes and 17 seconds remaining in the first quarter. There is no score. Now, each team with 2 possessions. Second series for Pittsburgh, number 1. And they're back at the 18 after the punt, 1st down. And Cavanaugh giving to number 33, Tony Dorsett. Dorsett for 2 or 3 yards, make it 3 out to the 21, where it'll be 2nd down and 7. Ron Crosby on the tackle. The Penn State defensive line, Banks, Patricio, Sidler, and Crosby, number 64, who just made the tackle. Those are the linebackers. Ollerman, Millen, Clark, and Hostetler. There are 2 freshmen in the linebacking core. Neil Hutton, Gary Petrusky. So here we go now with a 2nd down and 8. And the Penn State defense containing Dorsett inside and outside. Bill Banks, 85, one of the tacklers for the Nittany Lions. Tony Dorsett, 5.7 average, 300 rushes coming into the game.
He's a boy of amazing stamina. Carries the ball a great number of times. Seems to improve really as the game goes along. And also, he has that ability to sort of calm the defensive team. As they make a tackle for no gain, he always says, nice going, nice going. And then he builds up for the breakaway play.
3rd down and 6, and Cavanaugh fakes a pass, loses the handle. Tony Patricio was in to stop the quarterback at the 20 for a loss of 3. It is 4th down and 9 for the number 1 ranked team in the country, Pittsburgh. Their last win over Penn State was in 1965 when Frank Clark kicked an 18-yard field goal with 1 second to go. Larry Slider's Pittsburgh punt is going deep at about the 32. Maudie has it. Coming out to the 35, and he's dumped. A 48-yard punt and no return as you see the rain coming down behind the Pittsburgh cheerleaders. Tomorrow here on ABC Sports, you'll be treated to another NCAA football doubleheader. That's right, at 12:30 Eastern, 11:30 Central. Army-Navy from Philadelphia. Then from the Coliseum in Los Angeles, the Fighting Irish of Notre Dame against second-ranked Trojans of Southern California. More about that later. Right now, from the 35, 1st and 10 for Penn State. No score. Cucina. Out of bounds for a loss.
And when you see that game tomorrow between Southern California and Notre Dame, you'll be seeing Notre Dame that will be playing the Penn State team in the Gator Bowl here on ABC.
All right, a loss of 1 on the play. Back to the 34, where it'll be 2nd down and 11. In the backfield for Penn State, 46, Scott Fitzke, who is the punter. Number 39, Bob Torrey, the fullback, and the halfback is Steve Geis. Number 29, Fusina, 14, the quarterback, 2nd and 11. No score, 1st quarter. Pittsburgh's defense meets the challenge. Cecil Johnson, number 60, was one of the defenders in on Bob Torrey.
Penn State, Chris, is beginning to change their offensive alignment a little bit. They haven't moved the ball yet, but each time they jump to a different formation, the scouts in the press box are reading what the adjustments are by the Pitt Panthers, and they hope to be able, as soon as they know how they're playing the formations, to loosen them up and make some yardage. You can see a little moisture on the helmet there.
All right, 2nd down and 9 for Penn State from their own 36. Bob Torrey. And Torrey brings it out. That was a 3rd down play, my correction, as James Kramer made the stop. And again, it's a punting situation. That was the 3rd possession for Penn State. Pittsburgh has had 2. Neither team has been able to go beyond either's 40-yard line. Scott Fitzke will do the punting, and deep is Taylor once more. Very, very high and very deep. Fitzke's kick is inside the 10, and Taylor is driven back to his own 8, and Pittsburgh will try to move it from there. A 50-yard punt by Scott Fitzke of Penn State. We'll be back.
We're standing here with Lee Majors, the $6 million man of ABC, and a big Pitt football fan. You and John Majors have the same name, Lee.
That's right, kissing cousins.
You come to many Pitt games.
Yeah, this is my 4th year. I coach 1 game a year for him. We better go back to the action right here. I don't want to miss anything.
What's your record?
2-1.
All right, Lee, thank you.
A great defensive play by Bill Banks, number 85, on Tony Dorsett. Minus yardage for Dorsett on the play. It moves the ball from the 8 back inside the 5 to the 4. 2nd down and 14. Dorsett now, 4 carries, 4 yards.
Penn State defense obviously keying on him, but as Chris mentioned earlier, Dorsett will line up in every position in the Pittsburgh backfield. This time he's at right halfback in his rear set.
44, Bob Hutton carried on the play, and Bill Banks in again on the tackle. Number 85 from Camden, New Jersey, a junior defensive end, 6'1", 220.
I'm very sorry to see it raining out here because the field can get just a little bit slick. This is tartan turf, and we talked to some of the Pittsburgh Steelers this afternoon, Jack Ham notably, who said that when this field gets wet, it does get a little bit slippery.
And now Tony Dorsett is the tailback. To the left of your screen, the deepest back on 3rd down and 12. No score. Tony Dorsett stopped by Bill Banks, one of the tacklers in on the play, along with number 64, Ron Crosby. The pinching ends are getting in on number 33, along with 44 Hutton going to the far sideline. Punting time for Larry Swider, 4th down and 10. 2-yard gain on that last play. Monty back at his own 41. The deepest penetration by either team. And for the first time, Penn State is in Pittsburgh territory at the Pittsburgh 45. 5:38 left in the first quarter, no score. Penn State had a good run back of a Larry Swider punt. For the first time, Penn State is in Pittsburgh territory at the 45. There's Lee Majors, not related to Coach Johnny Majors. Lee is from Kentucky, played football for a while at Indiana University, and has often been with us in the booth on the West Coast. All right. From the 45, 1st and 10, Penn State. Carrying on the play, Mike Gooman, a freshman, thrown for a loss. James Kramer, the right linebacker, in on the play, joined by Jeff Delaney, number 14. There's Johnny Majors from Lynchburg, Tennessee.
I've been impressed thus far, Chris. Going into the game, I thought that Pittsburgh would have a punting advantage. Swider had a 44.8 average going into the game, and Fitzke 34.5, a 10-point difference. But thus far, Fitzke has had the superiority in the kicking.
Now he's a flanker to the near side of the field. 2nd and 11 from the 46. Now he goes in motion toward the backfield. On a keeper, Jusina slips on the moist turf. The artificial turf slipping for a loss. Back to the 49, a loss of 3. It'll be 3rd down and 14.
And Johnny Majors, after doing a tremendous job at Iowa State, getting them back in the thick of the Big 8 conference, moved to Pittsburgh, and as you can see, he's rebuilding the glory days of Jock Sutherland here at the University of Pittsburgh.
And before Jock Sutherland, for you longtime football fans, the incomparable Pop Warner. 3rd down and 14 now for Penn State. 4:26 left in the first quarter. Slot formation. Jusina. Beautiful catch by Rich Motti. Number 48. Out of bounds inside the 25 of Pittsburgh. Remember, Penn State is a touchdown underdog. There is Motti. His 11th reception. Been averaging 14.8, looking for his first touchdown through the air.
And Chuck Jusina has made the difference in this Penn State attack. He's thrown 80 times, completed 80 of 151, rather, for 53%. And his passing has geared up the attack.
Like last week, the first down, Bud, late in the first quarter. Okay. Penn State's 24, Mike Gooman. Gooman for about 2 yards, back to the 20. Jeff Delaney, number 14, and Bob Jury, number 31. Gooman, 24.
Another one of those great freshmen that Joe Paterno's been talking about. He says, I've got better young players than I've ever had at Penn State. And when you think back to some of the great ones that he has had, Capoletti, Lenny Moore, Frank O'Hara, some of those people, you got to believe these men can play.
Mike Gooman carrying on the play, one of the many freshmen, as Bud Wilkinson said. And Joe Paterno, as usual, is showing us many formations, many offensive formations. Gooman of Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, 6'2½", 190 pounds. Joe Paterno there on the sideline. There he comes into view. Honorary Doctorate of Laws from his alma mater, Brown University, where he was a quarterback. His brother George was a fullback, coached by Rip Engel. Now it's 3rd down and 9 from the 21. Bob Torrey, touchdown.
A little bit of a screen pass, Chris. They did a pretty good job of keeping leverage, but Torrey turned it up inside. Let's watch it again. Jusina dropping straight back, looking to the outside. He finds Torrey. Torrey cuts inside the corner man, then picks up a devastating wall of blockers down the middle, and it's home free to the end zone.
And now Tony Capizoli, number 11, tries the point after it's up, and it's good. 45 yards. And on the sixth play, a 21-yard touchdown. Bob Torrey, the sophomore from Ceres, New York. 3 minutes and 1 second left in the first quarter. Now let's hear a comment or two from Coach Joe Paterno.
The Pitt-Penn State game you're going to see on tonight is the kind of a game we've been hoping for in the East for a long, long time. We at Penn State have had things pretty much our own way for a long time, and then people like John Majors at Pitt and Jerry Claiborne at Maryland, Frank Burns at Rutgers, and Utica at Boston College and Welch at Navy. A lot of the people have come in, put together fine programs, have bright, energetic coaches, and we've got great football in the East now. And I think you're going to see a great football game tonight. I think Pitt's got an outstanding football team. They're the #1 ranked football team. We've got a young, upcoming football team that is anxious to take on this challenge of playing a great team. I think it's a great game. It's great for the East. It's great for intercollegiate football.
And his own Matt Barr, a side-wheeling kick that is hard to field. It's going inside the 10. And number 44 of Pittsburgh, Bob Hutton, saves the day at the 1. So top-ranked Pittsburgh now will actually move it from the 2. The ball being spotted at the hash mark, and the pressure is put on them early with 2:59 to go in the first quarter. Penn State is in the lead. The underdog, 7-0.
Looked like a curling stone sliding down there, Chris, the way it slipped, and just defied any kind of a proper bounce. No way that Pittsburgh ball handlers could get to it.
They have only gotten to their own 26 thus far in the first quarter. And give it to Dorsett. Tony Dorsett carrying it for a yard or two. Number 33, who has to play hurt most of the year because he carries so often and is the target, the sitting or running target of all defensive players. Pitt has 11 yards rushing. Dorsett has 8 of those yards. 2:37 to go, first quarter. Penn State is in the lead. 7-0 to the far side. Willie Taylor, number 29. We have a second down and 8 from the 4. Bob Hutton, number 44, stopped by Randy Seidler. Number 64, Ron Crosby, in on the stop at approximately the 6. So we're going to have a third down and 6.
So I mentioned earlier, Chris, Dorsett's one of those people that kind of lulls you to sleep. If there's no daylight, he doesn't really waste himself a great deal, but he's got that tremendous wide vision, and when there is daylight, he simply slats through there. He certainly is one that you never can overlook on any snap.
Gordon Jones going out on a pass pattern. Here comes the pass to Gordon Jones. Jones has it. He's out of bounds. No, was he out of bounds? The official said yes. He is out of bounds at the Penn State 40. Gordon Jones.
Beautiful throw by Matt Cavanaugh. Cavanaugh hit 47 of 76 passes for 62%. And the interesting thing to me, Chris, about Cavanaugh, he has thrown 1 interception this season. That means that you can throw the ball any place because he's not liable to put it up for grabs.
What a speedster, Gordon Jones, who also returns kickoffs. Last year, he ranked 4th in the nation. And this time, he moved the ball from his own 6 to the Penn State 40. 54 yards, and now Pittsburgh is in much better field position. Dorsett is the deep back at the left of your screen. He gets the pitch. To very little avail, 3 yards perhaps. Neil Hutton of Mount Holly, New Jersey, and Randy Seidler of Danville, Pennsylvania, forced Dorsett, number 33, out of bounds.
I like to watch him, Chris, even when there's no daylight for him to run. He sees everything. He floats in there. He's always in a good hitting position, very well protected, and he's just getting his feel of things now, and he's talking to the Penn State people about you people are stopping me awfully well, and to get some lull to sleep, it'll be look out.
There's a man that's had 3 perfect seasons, Joe Paterno, Coach of the Year in 1968. Pittsburgh, 2nd and 7 from the 37. Cavanaugh, Jones is out. Jones, the pass was short because the rush was tremendous. Number 75, Randy Seidler, put the rush on Matt Cavanaugh, the junior quarterback from Youngstown, Ohio. So it'll be a third down and 7. The ball at the Penn State 37. The Nittany Lions lead 7-0. If you just joined us, few minutes ago, they went 45 yards, and on the 6th play, a 21-yard touchdown pass. Ducina to Bob Torrey. Gordon Jones and Willie Taylor set away from the line on a 3rd and 7. Cavanaugh wants to hit one of them. The best pass defense in the world is a rush. Joe DeAngie, number 97, in on the play. A disappointed Matt Cavanaugh, but here is a procedure penalty against Pittsburgh.
Excellent rush that time by Penn State, Chris. However, I think Cavanaugh will begin to read that, and he'll begin to drop it off short when they bring the extra men up to put on the 6- and 7-man rush as they did on the previous play.
Of course, the penalty declined, bringing up a 4th down and 12, and Larry Swider now doesn't have as much field to work with. Walt Brown snaps the ball to Swider. It's low, angling for the corner. 2 officials will line it up, and let's see. It'll be a touchback coming out to the 20. Penn State in the lead, 7-0 with 1:19 to go in the first quarter. Will snap it from their own 20-yard line. Joe Paterno, a native of Brooklyn, New York, won 10 years in a row against the Pittsburgh Panthers. Never been defeated by a Pittsburgh team.
And tomorrow here on ABC Sports, you'll be treated to another NCAA football doubleheader at 12:30 Eastern Time, 11:30 Central. It's the traditional battle of the service academies. The Army-Navy game from Philadelphia. Then from the Los Angeles Coliseum, the Fighting Irish of Notre Dame take on the second-ranked Trojans of USC.
Cephalo in motion from the 20, 1st and 10. Carrying the ball, Mike Gooman, the freshman, number 24. In the backfield, Gooman, 24, 39 Torrey. Cephalo, the flanker. Rich Maudie, the split end, number 48. The tight end is Mickey Schuler, number 82. A gain of 1 yard on the play. There's a close-up of Tony Dorsett, just waiting. Biding his time, because sooner or later, he'll rip one. 2nd down and 9. Penn State leading 7-0. 46 seconds, first quarter. And Gooman getting a workout. 190-pounder. Charges out to about the 25. James Kramer, number 58, and 59, Arnie Weatherington, the linebackers. Take a look at Anthony Dorsett as a youngster at 7 years of age, son of Myrtle and Wes Dorsett. Recently, Tony says we should pronounce his name Dorsett.
However, too many people know it the other way, Chris. It's a hard time to change it. Too late.
His parents know it, Dorsett. 3rd and 5 now for Penn State. Ducina. Mike Gooman, the intended receiver, and again, it'll be punting time for the Nittany Lions, who lead 7-0 with only 2 seconds left on the Three Rivers Stadium clock.
Penn State is going against a very experienced 5-man defensive line and linebackers. 6 of the Pittsburgh front 7, if you want to call them that, are seniors, and one of them is a junior. Holloway, their right tackle.
Scott Fitzke to kick. He's from Red Lion, Pennsylvania. And exceeding his average on each kick as Willie Taylor looks at it at the 35, tries to break away, but number 85. Bill Banks in on the tackle for the Nittany Lions. He is that great defensive end for the Nittany Lion defense. The quarter is ended here. Penn State surprising leading Pittsburgh 7-0, but the referee, Paul Bertha, flag down. It looked like a clipping penalty, but an unusual signal.
Yeah, he kind of hit in the front of his knee.
The leg.
I think it was tripping, Chris.
We'll be back, but first, let's hear from one of our sponsors that makes this telecast possible from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. From untied Pittsburgh, a clipping call, a dead ball foul, will have them move the ball from their own 18.
It's one of the worst penalties you can get, Chris, because you start 1st and 25 instead of 1st and 10.
Yes.
If the clipping occurs while the ball's in play, then it's 1st and 10, and dead ball clip, it just really puts you in tough shape.
All right. Matt Cavanaugh, the quarterback. Dorsett, the deep back. Cavanaugh, a keeper. Cavanaugh from the 18 out to about the 23. Ron Crosby, number 64, in on the tackle. First quarter statistics, Bud Wilkinson.
And they're very, very close. 65 total yards to 74. Time of possession, 8:03 to 6:57, and that's the one that Joe Paterno's looking at. If they can keep possession of the ball the majority of the game, he thinks they've got an awfully good shot at it.
right. Second down and long yardage because of that foul. Jones and Taylor sent away. Good faking by Dorsett as Joe DeAnge and Randy Seidler are in on number 12, Matt Cavanaugh. And from the 24, the ball will come back to the 23, where it'll be a third down and approximately 20. Matt Cavanaugh. Youngstown, Ohio. He has rushed the ball for 345 yards, scored 4 touchdowns this year. He is 1 of 5 on third down conversions. Here's a big one. To no avail. Tony Patricio. Randy Seidler in on the tackle, and the big loss, and the Panthers can get nowhere.
They call that a 4-4 defense, but the way Joe Paterno mixes it up, it's 4-4 sometimes, it's 7-1 sometimes. It just keeps pouring in, and they've guessed right every time they've blitzed.
4th and 27. Swider's kick. Fair catch call for by Rich Monty. A 47-yard punt by Swider. And now Penn State, better than average field position at their own 38. First down. High school athletes will attract 5 million participants this year. Nearly 50% of the student body of most schools will be involved in the interscholastic program. The National Federation of State High School Associations requests your support for this important part of a school program. Penn State's Chuck Facino calling signals, leading 7-0. Opening moments of the second quarter. Interception by number 21, James Wilson. Wilson has it for the Panthers. Out of bounds at the Penn State 43.
A little bit of an underthrow, Chris. Lucena didn't see Wilson dropping back. He was in perfect position to make the play. Let's take another look at it. A straight drop back pass. Ball thrown, and it's a little bit of a hanger, as you can see. Not enough speed on it. Let Wilson cut back in front of it. He makes a very good return here for about 14 yards, moving all the way across the field. Picked up some good blocks. Good field position now.
Okay, Bud. From the 46, make it to 44. 1st and 10. Short pass intended for number 81, Jim Corbett, who had 30 catches coming into the ball game, including 2 touchdowns. 81, he's from Erie, Pennsylvania. The battle for recruiting here in this state between these two schools is ferocious, Bud. You look at the roster, and the majority of the players are from Pennsylvania.
It also makes a difference who wins this game. Everybody likes to be with the winner. And if Pittsburgh can break through tonight, that'll make it easier for Johnny to continue this fine recruiting.
Cavanaugh, Pittsburgh. Rather indecisive, which is unlike Cavanaugh, but the Penn State defense is so mobile that they'll cause you to make the wrong decisions. However, Cavanaugh did get from his own 44 to the 38, a gain of 6, third down and 4.
Very good shot there, Chris, of how Penn State's going to play that wide option or any kind of a sweep. They had 2 people to the outside of Cavanaugh waiting for the ball to go to Dorsett because they do not want to give him any sliver of room.
12:27 left in the first half. Penn State 7, Pittsburgh nothing. They have the ball. Corbett. The play was blown dead prior to the fumble.
And Pittsburgh.
Wasn't a completion. Did he have possession? Okay, it's inside the 35. Watch it again.
Number 81, Corbett, 6'4", 210-pound senior. And Johnny Major said before the game he has never seen Corbett drop a ball. He made the catch. He dropped it after he was hit, but the referee ruled that the play was dead, that he had been stopped prior to the fumble. And Pittsburgh is now beginning to ignore Dorsett a little bit. They realize that Penn State is keying everything on Tony, and they're using him to fake, and they're beginning to move the ball a little bit with that strategy.
All right.
Let's take a look at it again and be sure that the officials called it correctly. There, he's made the reception. He's hit, and now he's being driven back before he fumbled the ball. At least that was the interpretation from the umpire.
First downs have been scarce. There's another one by Pittsburgh. So from the Penn State 34, Tony Dorsett carries for a yard or 2, and Randy Seidler, number 75, what a defensive game he is having at defensive right tackle. And he just seems to know where Dorsett is going, or any of the ball carriers. So with the ball now at the 33, it's a second down and 9. Penn State leads. They went 45 yards, and on the 6th play, a 21-yard touchdown pass. You've seen it to Bob Torrey. The point after, 7-0. Second and 9, Pittsburgh. An interception by Penn State. Number 92, Rick Donaldson, a freshman from Dunkirk, New York, pulls in a Kavanaugh pass, so Penn State takes over at its own 8. 11:22 remaining in the first half. Penn State leading Pittsburgh 7-0. I think you can gather the intensity of the sellout crowd, equally divided, 25,000 for each school, up here in our broadcasting booth high above Three Rivers Stadium. It's tremendous.
And they traded interceptions, Chris, with the same kind of throws. On that ball, Kavanaugh simply didn't drill it quite hard enough. Donaldson is only a freshman, as you pointed out. We see him here turning on great speed. Ball just a little bit underthrown, floated just a little bit. Donaldson coming back in front of the play to make a key interception, so the two teams have traded interceptions.
Now field position that will test the mettle of the Penn State offense. Matt Suey and his brother Larry Suey are in the backfield, 32 and 35 from the 8. Fusina, the quarterback. Giving to Matt Suey, who is the freshman. Randy Holloway in on the tackle, and there is a loss on the play back to the 6, where it'll be second down and 12 for the Nittany Lions.
It's a great family for Penn State. The 3 Suey brothers on the team, Paul, Larry, and Matt. They're the sons of Steve Suey, who was an All-American under Bob Higgins in 1947 at Penn State, and Bob Higgins is their grandfather.
Okay. Second down and 12 from the 6. Fusina trying to get the band over in the far corner to knock it off.
At least it's the right band, Chris. It was the Pittsburgh band playing against the Penn State quarterback.
Get this. Matsui carried from the 6 on a second and 12. Thus far, Pittsburgh has 19 total rushing yards. Penn State, with that carry out to approximately the 9, has 11.
I don't know whether that's due a great deal, Chris, to the slipperiness of the turf. I think most of it is due to the excellent preparation both these teams have had. They've had 2 weeks practically to get ready to play, and that does give you what a coach loves, a little more time for a key game when your players want to be ready.
39 in the backfield. Chuck Fusina covered the ball, and it brings up a 4th down with the ball at the 7, a 4th down and 9.
I think we may see some change of cleats here in the second half. On artificial turf, most teams play with the sort of soccer peg-like cleats, but this field looks to be slippery enough that I think we'll get some of the old-fashioned turf cleats put on.
All right, Scott Pinsky in his own end zone to punt.
Big rush, 10 men ready to go.
Willie Taylor is deep for Pittsburgh. A tough rush put on him. Pinsky gets it off a fair catch. Called for by Willie Taylor. No wind tonight. Still misting. And the spot now, the snap for the Panthers will come from the Penn State 41. First this break.
Standing NCAA football doubleheader beginning at 12:30 Eastern Time. The Army-Navy game live from Philadelphia. Then at 4 o'clock Eastern Time, Notre Dame battles USC. 2 great traditional rivalries tomorrow on ABC.
Number 1 ranked Pittsburgh. Now field position at the Penn State 41. Penn State leading 7-0, 9:24 remaining in the first half. Kavanaugh faking a handoff, faking a pass, and our keeper, Bill Banks, was not fooled as we go down to Steve Zabriskie. Steve.
Thank you, Chris. Jim Corbett's wrist has been bandaged. Originally, he cut it, and it appeared that he aggravated it on the artificial surface, or else someone had stepped on it with their rubberized cleats and torn the cut open a little bit. We're not sure whether he hit it on somebody's headgear or just how he cut it, but it appears to be just a cut. It's bandaged. He's back in the game, and he should be all right. We'll have to wait and see if it'll affect his receiving, however. Okay, Chris.
Thanks, Steve. Second down and 8 now from the 39. A bullet to Gordon Jones. Jones is to the 13 of Penn State. First down. Peter Kuski of Trenton, New Jersey.
And when you've got everybody up there, Chris, ready to stop Dorsett, and you better have some linebackers ready if you're going to stop Dorsett. There just isn't a lot of help in the secondary, as you can see. Beautiful throw here. Matthewsina, man wide open because the linebackers were up protecting against Dorsett. And Gordon Jones makes a beautiful run.
Taylor now going to the far side as a flanker. First and 10 from the Penn State 13. Pitt's deepest penetration, Dorsett. And Dorsett for a couple of yards. Ron Crosby forcing him out, along with Rick Donaldson, number 92, earlier had an interception for the Penn State defense. Averaging 172.4 yards per game. But up to now, Tony Dorsett has been really contained. He has now a total of 23 yards. But it's early. 8:20 to go in the first half. Penn State leading 7-0.
And Joe Paterno said that we're not going to make any yards wide.
Second down and 8 now for Pittsburgh. There goes Dorsett. He went wide to the 6. Going lateral with him, Bill Banks, the defensive left end, number 85. There he is.
We're going to get some kind of misdirection from Pittsburgh pretty soon. That defense is truly flowing very, very rapidly with the first fake.
That was Tony's longest gain on the play, a gain of 5 yards, so it's third down and 3 for the Panthers. Dorsett lines up now as the halfback, the right halfback, in the split back formation for Coach Johnny Majors. And the referee, Paul Bertha, who works for the Allegheny County officialdom, is the referee here, one of the best in the East.
You better remain impartial also, Chris, if he's a public official here.
All right. 7:33 to go in the first half. Penn State 7, Pittsburgh nothing. Pittsburgh has converted on 2 of 8 third downs. Here's a 3rd and 3 at the 6. To Dorsett. Dorsett has 6 points.
His teammates love him.
His 20th rushing touchdown of the year. He has 1 touchdown by way of the pass. Watch his moves.
And a very good play here by Kavanaugh. He held the ball, slowed up just enough to let Dorsett get far enough ahead of him that when the ball was tossed out, his superior speed made it. A little bit of a slow up right there. You can see the toss, and there's that great speed turning it on inside the flag for the score.
And again, field position. Penn State scored from the Pittsburgh 45 on the 6th play. Now Pitt 41 yards on the 5th play. Dorsett scores, and the point after attempt by Carson Long is good. It's tied with 7:18 to go in the first half. Tony Dorsett has scored his 54th career touchdown, battling for the Heisman Trophy to be awarded on Tuesday. There is Carson Long, who will kick as we have a tie game at 7. 7:18 to go in the first half. Rich Monty is deep for Penn State. There at the left of your screen at about the 3 and moving forward. Scott Fitzke, who is the punter and a flanker, is to the near side of the field, and Tom Donovan, an end, is to the opposite side. Carson Long has teed it up on the far hash mark. No wind affecting the kicks. It is still misting here. Monty has it. The 13 coming out to about the 20, and look at the dive for the ball. A fumble. Pittsburgh recovers. Number 7 coming up with the ball, Ralph Still. You saw him hold it high over his head. Watch Monty now at the 13 coming forward. The hits were hard.
Long hung that ball up in the air, Chris, for maybe 6 or 7 seconds. It wasn't a deep kick down, only about the 15-yard line, but that gives you that excellent, excellent coverage. Pittsburgh now has the ball on the 20. Their last 3 exchanges, they've got it on the 44, the 40, and now the 20 of Penn State.
The old bugaboos, the mistakes. Now at the 20, Pittsburgh. Kavanaugh, though he hurt his hand, is in at quarterback. And oh, how quickly Dorsett moves to about the 17 as we go to the sideline and Steve Zabriskie.
Matt Kavanaugh, the Pitt quarterback, has injured the little finger on his left hand. It is not his throwing hand. They don't think it's dislocated. They taped the two together, the one next to it and the little finger on his left hand, and then they had him soaking his finger in a bag of ice, and then that fumble happened, and he had to go right back out on the field. It shouldn't be any problem, however. Chris?
Second down and 6 from the 16. Dorsett. Dorsett with a slight straight arm on number 26, Neil Hutton of Mount Holly, New Jersey, a junior. When he saw it wouldn't work, he just goes out of bounds. Dorsett, who before that carry, that was his 13th carry, by the way. From the 16, the ball gets to the 12, so he now has 35 yards and 1 touchdown.
That last play gave you some idea, though, why Dorsett has the tremendous statistics and why he's the leading candidate for the Heisman Trophy. He's running about 3/4 speed when everybody else is running full speed. And then he can turn on another 25%.
3rd and 2 for the Panthers. He took a step and a half, and number 53, Kurt Allerman, the senior linebacker, made a beautiful defensive play back at the 14. It's 4th down and 4. Let's see if Carson Long comes into the lineup.
Allerman had been an outside linebacker for Penn State. Prior to this game, they moved him to the inside because Joe Paterno was concerned about having 3 freshmen inside.
Carson Long will try it from the 21 plus the 10 of the end zone on an angle, 31 yards. One of the all-time great college kickers. It's long enough. It's up and it's no good. So, 5:53 remaining in the first half. The score is still Pittsburgh 7, Penn State 7. Here is a replay of a 31-yard field goal attempt by Carson Long.
And you can take a look at it. Camera angles are sometimes deceiving, but you see a little cheering from Carson Long, and the officials now are checking it out. It was very, very close, but the officials are looking at it from all angles, not from a camera angle, and they said it was wide.
And they have the final say.
Yes, it does not make any difference. That's right.
5:53 to go in the first half. You just joined us. Penn State scored in the first quarter, 45 yards on the 6th play, a 21-yard touchdown. Torrey, pass thrown by Fusina. Dorsett scored for Pittsburgh to tie it up. Now from the 20, Penn State. Steve Geis carries on the play. Another Steve is on the sideline, Mr. Zabriskie of Pittsburgh.
Thank you, Chris. Carson Long, as many of you may remember who saw this game last year here in Three Rivers Stadium, was kind of the GOAT. He missed 3 fourth-quarter field goals that would have given Pitt the win over Penn State. They lost that game to the Nittany Lions 7-6. Tonight, Carson Long hits his first attempt, and that built up confidence right there. Could be a big difference as we get later in the game. Chris?
So now with the ball at the 24, it's a 2nd down and 6 for Penn State. Slot formation to the far side. Practically a double wing formation, and Bob Torrey, who scored the Penn State touchdown, carries on the play, and Ernie Wetherington, number 59 of Miami, Florida, made the stop. And let's see the forward progress to the 28. Gain of 4. It'll be 3rd down and 2.
I've got to feel, Chris, that the percentages work out for a field goal kicker as good as Long. He's an all-time scorer as a kicker in NCAA history. He's an excellent, excellent player. Give it another shot. I got to believe he'll put it through there.
Time has been called down on the field. Penn State has 20 yards rushing on 16 plays, but what counts is a 21-yard pass play for their touchdown as we look at Johnny Majors in his 4th year here at the University of Pittsburgh. Brought them from losers to winners. Let's hear what he has to say.
We inherited a football program that had really learned to accept defeat as a way of life, and that their players and their fans and everybody else, I think, accepted it, and we're learning to lose. And the first thing we try to do is instill into our people not to learn to lose or accept losing as a way of life, to learn to play like winners and to play with pride and enthusiasm regardless how bad you looked or how bad you were. Then you could get better. We recruited a good bunch of freshmen to go along and mix in with the senior holdovers and juniors who were hungry and were tired of being embarrassed. This group of people molded into a group who at one time maybe cared little for each other individually or collectively, to a group now who really loves each other, as corny as it may sound, and respects each other as a team first and individual second.
Johnny Majors, an All-American at Tennessee in 1956, 2nd in the Heisman Trophy voting that year, 2nd to Paul Horniman. Now it's a 3rd down and 2 for Penn State at the 28. Scores tied, 7. Beautiful beautiful run by Steve Geis.
It's kind of a play that beat Pittsburgh last year when it's third down short, Chris. You go into some kind of a goal line defense, and if they pop one, it may go all the way, which is how Penn State put their 6 points on the board, and the successful point after made the 7-6 win for them.
Penn State won their last 6 games, beating Stanford first, then losing to Ohio State, Iowa, and to Kentucky. Boy, how they've come back. And are they improved from the 35 first down? Steve Geis again. Steve brings it out to his own 44 for a 9-yard gain, and Jeff Delaney on the tackle.
What you mentioned a moment ago, Chris, to me, I think people have talked for years about what a great coach Joe Paterno is. When you win 1 and then you lose 3, you can see everything sort of just draining out on you, but he had the courage as a coach and with his staff to put the new young players in, and this team has truly come to life.
He has only 4 seniors on the offensive team, 2 seniors on the defense, so look out in the future. On a 2nd and 1, Bob Torrey, who scored the Penn State touchdown on a pass from Fusina, carried. Dorsett scored the Pittsburgh touchdown on a beautiful move of 6 yards to the outside, and now with the ball at the 44, it's going to be a 3rd down and 1. Fireman's Fund flashback at halftime. Highlights of the Nebraska-Oklahoma game. What a game. The Sooners coming from behind to win it 20-17. Boomer Sooner, Bud Wilkinson.
That last drive, they hadn't thrown a pass, Chris. Came back with one of Bob Zupke's old flea flickers to win the game.
Penn State needs a yard. And they get more than enough. Steve Geis, their top producer on the ground, gets it right near midfield. So Penn State keeps the drive alive. On the clock, 3 minutes remaining in the first half. The score is tied at 7. Geis now 33 yards in 7 carries.
The Penn State offense is beginning to pick up a little bit of momentum. They were unable to move the ball at all on the ground in the first quarter. They did very effective throwing. Fusina is an excellent passer, but now they're beginning to put it together on the ground.
Donovan 21, Cepalo 34 on a 1st and 10 from the midfield stripe. Fusina looking at both. They're down. Out they go, and pass over the head of 44, Cepalo. Bob Jury covering. Here again, Steve Zabriskie.
Franco Harris of the Pittsburgh Steelers, one of the great running backs in Penn State history. Franco, you played at a couple of these games. You enjoying it?
Yes, I am, Steve, very much. You know, like, the only time I was playing, it wasn't such a really big ordeal to play Pitt, you know, because we used to beat them pretty bad, but now Pitt being number 1 and Penn State being the underdog, hey, it's quite a thrill. You can tell by just being here in the stadium.
Thanks a lot, Franco. Let's go back up to Chris.
Fusina 5 of 9 passing, gives to Geis. Geis gets to the Pittsburgh 40. Very, very close to another first down. Fusina 5 of 9, 64 yards and a touchdown.
And great execution and blocking on the draw play. 2nd down and 10. The Panthers expecting to pass. Good call. Great execution.
Geis scored a 29-yard touchdown last year. 8 minutes remaining in the 4th quarter. And with the point after was the margin of victory for Penn State. 3rd down and 1. Fusina wants it all. Gets it out here to number 82, Mickey Schuler, his tight end. 1st down for the Nittany Lions. They're at the Pittsburgh 33.
Fusina's a very cool operator back there. I think that Schuler was his number 2 receiver as we see him coming back. Fake inside the Geis. He's rolling to his left. He turns, sets, he's rushed. And when the pressure's on him, he just put it right in there. Schuler turned, made the nice reception.
He's from McKees Rocks, Pennsylvania, handing off to number 39, Bob Torrey. McKees Rocks, Pennsylvania, also the hometown of other Penn State quarterbacks, Huffnagel, Burkhart.
Joe Paterno felt that they could move the ball against this Pittsburgh defense. Even though Pitt is ranked number 1 in the country, they felt quite solidly that after they knew where they were, that they could get off the line of scrimmage, move the ball effectively.
With the ball now at the 30, it'll be a 2nd down and 7 with 1:38 remaining in the first half. Pittsburgh 7, Penn State 7. Pittsburgh favored by about a touchdown here in their final regular season game. Bud, what's happening Monday night?
Well, this Monday night on ABC's NFL Monday Night Football, the Minnesota Vikings will be in Candlestick Park to play the San Francisco 49ers. Last weekend, the Vikings clinched their 8th Central Division title in 9 years. The Vikings' fortunes, of course, will be guided by quarterback Fran Tarkington, who holds nearly all of the NFL's career passing records. The 49ers have a somewhat younger quarterback, but well-known Jim Plunkett, the 1970 Heisman Trophy winner who's done pretty well in his 6 years in the NFL. For the 5th week in a row, ABC Sports gives you a look at a divisional leader. The Minnesota Vikings play the San Francisco 49ers on NFL Monday Night Football at 9 o'clock Eastern Time, 8 Central, over most of these ABC stations.
Well, there they are. Well, there you have it.
That's the passing of the guard, too.
Mr. Nixon. Second down to 7. It's not Halloween. From the 30 now, time running out in the first half, the 30 of Pittsburgh. The reverse, Tom Donovan throwing. And intercepted by Jeff Delaney.
Excellent defensive play. They had all the razzle-dazzle you can have, Chris, but the Pittsburgh defense was cool back there. Had 2 men on the ball. It was a little bit underthrown. That cuts them off the hook and prevents the field goal.
The second interception on Penn State, and with the ball at the 8, the Panthers have a minute 29 to try to break the 7-7 tie. The 76th renewal of a rivalry that began in 1893. And for the 3rd year, this has been a Pennsylvania spectacular here at Three Rivers Stadium. We've been here all 3 years, and these games have been something. Number 12, in at quarterback, Tom Musick.
He was out of bounds, Chris. Good reception, but Jones, the field wasn't quite wide enough for him.
This is the first time that Tom Musick has, correction, Kavanaugh is the quarterback. My error.
And he does hang it out there very well. Jones makes the reception, but as you can see, his foot comes down out of the field of play.
Time left, a minute 22 here in the first half. The score tied 7-7. Taylor, 29 to the far side. That's why he's a career rushing record holder. Tony Dorsett pops one from his own 8 out to the 30.
I was going to say, Chris, that you wouldn't expect this team to score with so little time left if they didn't have a man named Tony Dorsett, number 33. He just reads it, kind of glides through there. Reminds you a great deal of O.J. Simpson.
21 yards. You will have to say that the Panthers, ranked number 1, are an exciting team to watch. A variety of plays coming right back down the middle, and they are at the Penn State 43, first down, 52 seconds left in the first half.
And Kavanaugh is a cool customer. He was rushed, he rolled out, he hit Jones on the crossing pattern. Jones made the reception, and he's a fine runner. He picked up good extra yardage.
28 yards on the play. Gordon Jones, a sophomore from North Versailles, Pennsylvania.
And there are 52 seconds on the clock. We believe that Pittsburgh has 2 timeouts remaining, so that will give them, I think, ample time at least to get the field goal range.
Kavanaugh now has thrown 8 times, completing 4 for 112 yards. The Pittsburgh touchdown was scored by Tony Dorsett on a 6-yard outside run. Penn State's touchdown was a 21-yard combination Fusina to Bob Torrey, thus the 7-7 tie. Jones has 3 catches for 107 yards.
And this is the type of situation that puts the pressure on young freshmen. Penn State has 3 freshmen playing linebacker for them. Number 92, Donaldson, number 54, Clark, and number 60, Millen.
52 seconds remaining in the first half, that is. Jones 24, Taylor 29, left and right. Dorsett and Hutton are the setbacks. Kavanaugh. Out goes Jones, flying. He had beaten the defender, Neil Hutton, number 26. The pass was long. Kavanaugh proved to us that he can throw at least 53 yards. Wow. Second down and 10. Clock stopped. 47 seconds left in the first half.
Kavanaugh's statistics, just to repeat them one more time, he's hitting 62% of his passes going into this game. Had thrown only one interception this season, but he did throw another one in this game.
The outcome of this game annually is for bragging rights by either Penn State or Pittsburgh.
And they can brag a little bit, Chris, maybe about a national championship, too. And certainly supremacy in the East among the independents.
Jones and Taylor, potential receivers. It goes to Dorsett, who breaks one, but loses a yard. Tony Patricio, number 99, Levittown, Pennsylvania, and Bill Banks, 85, of Camden, New Jersey, on the tackle at the 44. Third down and 11. 40 seconds left on the clock here at Three Rivers Stadium, home of the Steelers and the Pirates. And once a year, the spot for this game, Penn State and Pittsburgh. This year, Pittsburgh Panthers are the visiting team. They alternate, of course.
Penn State has done a great job of defending anything that's straight ahead, Chris. The misdirection plays and the crossing patterns have been the key ways for Pittsburgh to move the ball against the Nittany Lions.
It's been a big week of football on ABC. 2 more tomorrow. Army-Navy at 12:30, followed by Notre Dame, Southern California. The Trojans ranked number 2. Now, third down 11. Score tied, Kavanaugh. Taylor diving forward. He receives it at approximately the 33. Bill Crummy covering defensively. So that, let's see if there was enough for a first down. It was a third down and 11. It's very, very close. A measurement called for.
Yeah, that's a gratuitous timeout for Pittsburgh. The referee kills the clock for them here. That'll give them time to go back in the huddle, get settled, and then come up. I don't think that they have called their third timeout.
All right, the head linesman and his crew, Clifford Fair, former basketball official, retired from that, longtime football official. These are the Pittsburgh Panther assistant coaches off to our right, but they're busy throughout the game.
That's the brain trust. One of the worst places to see a football game is where the head coach stands down on the sidelines because your perceptions are all wrong. The staff up above in the press box can really key the movements of the players.
Fourth down and less than the length of a football. We have 25 seconds left in the first half. The score tied at 7. Penn State scored in the first quarter. Pittsburgh, and there, on a keeper, Kavanaugh gets the first down. 20 seconds on the clock here at Three Rivers Stadium in the first half. Time called by the Pittsburgh Panthers, unbeaten and untied. First time since 1937.
And I believe that's their third and final timeout of this half.
And when they snap it, Bud, they'll do it from about the hash mark, the 32. Kavanaugh.
A little bit of slippery turf out there.
Number 95, Tom DePasso of White Plains, New York, a junior linebacker, shooting the gap. And it comes back to the 41 and Kavanaugh trying to stop the clock. No time left. So, here at Three Rivers Stadium, jam-packed, the teams crisscross it to our left with the score tied at 7. Let's go down to Steve Zabriskie.
John Majors, anything surprise you the first half?
Not really. I expected Penn State to get after us like they are, and both defenses are playing a great ball game. It's a hard-fought ball game, and we've got to maybe put the ball in the air a little more to throw them off balance, and they're getting after us very well, and both teams are. It's a hell of a ball game, and it's wide open to this point. Anybody can win the game.
Do you think, Coach, that in the beginning field position made the big difference?
Very big. They gained every time. They gained field position the first 3 or 4 times we exchanged balls. Yes, it's a big factor. It always is in football.
All right, Coach, good luck to you in the second half. What do you anticipate now?
I anticipate the same hard-fought battle and hope we can loosen them up some. We got to get our offensive line cranked up, keep them out of our backfield, and give us a little more time. That's one thing, or we're going to have a difficult struggle.
All right, good luck to you, Coach.
Okay.
Thank you.
And it continues to mist here. Maybe our pal and native of Pittsburgh, Errol Garner, thought of it when he wrote the tune Misty. We'll be back with a lot of action after this.
Uh-oh, the ball. Why is it everyone looks so busy, but nothing ever gets done?
Sir, it's your aftershave. It always arrives here 10 seconds before you do. Can I make a suggestion?
Suggest.
Menin Skin Bracer aftershave. It's got a nice, clean smell. Not too perfumey. It won't arrive before you do.
Thanks. This company needed that.
Sideline with Coach Joe Paterno. Coach, anything surprise you about the first half?
Well, I'm really pleased with what we've played defensively. I didn't think we could maybe stay that long. I'm a little disappointed we haven't thrown the ball better. We're going to have to throw better if we're going to win this football game, because I'm sure we're going to have trouble containing that guy much longer. He's a great back, and anyway, any play can explode on you, so we got to get some points. Okay.
Coach, what about the field position in the first half? You think that was a surprise with their kicking game?
Well, I was pleased with our kicking.
Okay, Coach Paterno with his players on the sideline getting ready. They're happy about getting ready for the second half, and they're happy to be tied here 7-7 with Pittsburgh. Penn State said that they didn't think of themselves as being the underdog in this game, and they're proving that perhaps they are not. Let's go upstairs to Chris and Bud.
Thank you very much, Steve. And Bud, here are the first half statistics.
And Pittsburgh having a little bit the best of it. They're passing particularly effective. Joe Paterno just mentioned that they've got to do better with their passing. The time of possession is key, and in the second quarter, Penn State had the ball only 6 minutes and 14 seconds. They dominated ball possession in the first quarter, which is why they controlled Pittsburgh so effectively. Ball possession is going to be the key.
So if you're just joining us here, we're waiting the start of the second half. That is Matt Barr, number 10, that will be kicking to Pittsburgh. When the first half ended, Pittsburgh had the ball. After interception, they moved from the 8 to the 32. Now deep, we have Willie Taylor, 29. 23 is Larry Sims for the Panthers. Score tied at 7. Taylor at the 3, 5, 10, 15, 20. Falls forward to the 25. And the unbeaten and untied Pittsburgh Panthers, ranked number 1 since November 15th, will try to move it from approximately their own 25. Touchdowns, first Bob Torrey, a 21-yard pass from Chuck Fusino, the Penn State quarterback in the first quarter. Then Dorsett capped a 41-yard march, going outside, a 6-yard run for the score. 7-7 as Taylor comes to the near side. Jones goes opposite. Line of scrimmage is, let's call it the 26. Kavanaugh, number 12. Looping one out to Jones. He tried to make a 90-degree turn and move upfield, was forced out by Rick Donaldson, one of the many freshmen on the Penn State defense.
In retrospect, one of the key plays in the first half, after Pittsburgh scored their touchdown on the following kickoff, Penn State fumbled on their own 20. Pittsburgh was unable to move the ball, and they narrowly missed a field goal. Had they scored there on 2 successive possessions, it might have given them the momentum that they're seeking.
Both sides cheering now. It's a 2nd down and 6 from the 30. Pittsburgh and white. Kavanaugh. Dorsett was trailing on the play, a gain of a yard. So it'll be a 3rd down and 5. And let's meet the Pittsburgh offensive unit. Here they are.
Hi, my name is Gordon Jones, wide receiver, North Versailles, PA.
Hi, my name is John Hanhauser. I'm an offensive tackle from Erie, PA.
Hi, my name is Matt Carroll. I'm an offensive guard from Middleborough High School, North PA.
John Pelusi, I'm a center. I'm from Youngstown Cheney High School, Youngstown, Ohio.
Tom Brazosa, offensive right guard, Newcastle, Pennsylvania.
On a 3rd and 5, Dorsett comes outside. In the first half, he had 51 yards on 16 carries and 1 touchdown. He needs 91 yards here in the second half to hit the magic 6,000-yard march. He gets the first down for the Panthers.
I was kind of bewildered at how he did that, Chris. There didn't appear to be any daylight at all, but he saw that little seam, used that great extra burst of speed, that reserve that he always has to slither forward for the first down.
7-yard carry, 1st and 10 from the 38. Pittsburgh with the ball in their own territory. Kavanaugh. Ooh, a hard hit, out of bounds at the 42. Kurt Allerman, number 53, forcing him out. Now let's hear from the Pittsburgh backfield.
Willie Taylor, wide receiver, Verona, New Jersey.
Bob Hutton, Marlboro, New Jersey, running back. Anthony Dorsett, running back, Aliquippa, Pennsylvania. Matt Kavanaugh, quarterback, Youngstown, Ohio.
Matt now is up the line, 2nd down and 5 from his own 43. The score tied at 7. Bob Hutton, 44, carrying out to the 46. Gain of 3. It'll be 3rd down and 2. Ron Crosby on the tackle for Penn State. 7-7 the score, 13:48 remaining in the 3rd quarter.
And Johnny Majors has had Dorsett lined up at 4 different positions in the backfield thus far. He's at either halfback in the veer. He took 1 snap from the fullback position in the I, and then several from the tailback position in the I formation. They try to hide him a little bit, but Penn State has found him effectively thus far.
Pittsburgh, 3rd and 2. Kavanaugh. Averaged 4.9 rushing this year, 4 touchdowns on the ground. Number 12, Kavanaugh, the junior from Youngstown, Ohio. The ball is near midfield.
And one of the things, Chris, you always have to do in a football game is take what they are willing to give you. And obviously, they are not willing to let Dorsett have much room to run. With Kavanaugh going out on the various option plays, when they're defending well against Dorsett, he's got some room.
Now Dorsett is the tailback at the right of your screen, the deep back. Hutton is ahead of him. Fake to Dorsett. Here's the pass. The big rush put on by 85 Bill Banks. Pass intended for Willie Taylor. And let's set the Penn State defense. They have held a team that's averaged 33 points to only 7 in the first half. Penn State defense, which includes Bill Banks, who's been in a lot of defensive plays, number 85, Petruccio, Seidler, and Ron Crosby, who was in on the last play, Allerman, Millen, and Clark, the 2 freshman linebackers, and Hostetler. And in the secondary, we have Hutton, Peter Kuski, and Bernie Robinson. Now a 2nd and 10. Jim Corbett, who his coach often said never drops the ball, showed us his great hands.
I didn't believe Johnny Majors when he told me that he's never seen Jim Corbett drop a ball. This gives you some idea that he was telling the truth. He kind of makes the fake block there, screens his man, number 85, Banks. The ball appeared to be overthrown. He went up, bounced it off his hands, made a great reception, and now it's 3rd down and about 2.
Kavanaugh now completed 7 of 14, 134 yards. Timeout has been taken by the top-ranked Pittsburgh Panthers here in Pennsylvania. We're going to take a break and then back to more action. Don't go away.
A dry ball is very important. Here's a little thing that Tom Brennan is using behind the Penn State bench to keep the balls dry. Puts it in, looks like a rotisserie. Little electric heat, and the ball goes around and around like a dryer and keeps it dry. Back to you, Chris.
Okay. 3rd and 3 for Kavanaugh. First down to Corbett. And the Panthers now have come from their own 26. They have moved to the 35 of Penn State. First down.
Good pressure again, but Kavanaugh throws it beautifully. Taylor had driven the corner man back. Corbett came out in front of the corner man, was hit hard as he made the reception, but once again, as we see him, those sure hands. Taylor down the field, driving the corner man back. Linebackers not able to get out there quite fast enough. That was DePasso chasing him. First down, Pittsburgh.
As Johnny Majors said at the end of the first half, they'd have to pass more. Hutton keeps it on the ground on a first down play for 5 hard-earned yards. 85, Banks. 97, Joe DeAngie. In on the tackle, so it'll be a 2nd and 5 here in the 3rd quarter. 11:55 remaining. The score is tied 7-7.
And this is what Joe Paterno did not believe Pittsburgh could do. He said they're a big play team. If we can keep from making the big play, I don't think they can march too effectively against us.
Now on the split backs, Dorsett to the far side. Kavanaugh, a keeper, trailing is Dorsett. Here he is. No chance. The flick was high. Rick Donaldson, 92, the freshman from Dunkirk, New York, along with Ron Crosby in on Tony Dorsett.
And he's lulling everybody to sleep as he wanders back to the huddle looking like he's very tired, but he's got great stamina. When that ball moves, he moves.
Syracuse player, and later with the Browns in Cleveland used to do that, Jimmy Brown. And then look out.
And most of the good ones do, Chris. They kind of lull you to sleep and then light the fuse.
All right, a loss of 2. 3rd down and 7. Kavanaugh. Interception. Penn State takes over at its own 20. 3 turnovers for Penn State, 2 for Pittsburgh. Joe DeAngie intercepts at the 20. The Nittany Lions tie ball game will take over. But first, this pause from Three Rivers Stadium. Pittsburgh had a great drive going, and on 3rd and 7, this happened to Cavanaugh.
Cavanaugh rolling out. He tries to force this just a little bit. He had a little opening, could have run. The ball was thrown, and a very fine interception by Diangio set the play up and knocked the drive apart.
And Penn State takes over. First and 10 at the 20. Geis, their top rusher, brings it out to about the 35. In a hard-hitting football game here at Three Rivers Stadium, out at the 35, it's a 1st and 10 as Dorsett looks on, perspiring heavily. Lynn Swan, graduate of Southern California, and of course a great star with the Pittsburgh Steelers, is here. Fellow broadcaster, Lynn, who are you rooting for tonight?
Well, I'm rooting for both teams, but deep down inside, I know if Pitt loses, SC has a chance to be #1 in the nation.
Well, Lynn, SC, of course, plays Notre Dame to be seen here at 4 Eastern Time tomorrow, and we're glad you're out here watching the game, and I know you're high on Gordon Jones.
Gordon Jones is having a fantastic ball game. They've kept Tony Dorsett pretty much in check, so he's been doing a super job of helping the team move the ball down the field.
Okay, Lynn, hang around. Lynn Swan of the Steelers. We have a penalty here.
A little bit of a mix-up in the timing and illegal procedure penalty against Penn State. They went on a very quick count. The team was not quite ready for the snap signal when it was called by Facina.
So the first down out to the 35. It comes back to the 30, where it'll be 1st down and 15. Chuck Facina, who has 1 touchdown pass to his credit. Cephalo in motion, number 44. And big Bob Torrey drives it out to a 43. A 13-yard gain. It'll be 2nd down and 2. James Wilson on the tackle for the Pittsburgh Panthers. Bob Torrey now 5 carries, 23 yards.
The Pittsburgh defense, as we take a look at it there, has been covering everybody in the offensive line. They haven't been running the trap plays, but the last 2 traps that Penn State has run have broken wide open.
Tandem, I. 2nd and 2, Penn State. No. Steve Geis. No running room. James Kramer in on the play, along with number 35, Dave DeCiccio. And Wetherington, number 59. So, loss of 1 yard on the play. It's 3rd down and 3 for the Nittany Lions. Score tied 7-7. 9:09 left in the 3rd quarter. 4 of 10 on 3rd downs for Penn State. Cephalo, 44 in motion. Steve Geis, 1st down for the Nittany Lions at the 47.
And I believe the man in motion and the various formations that Penn State is using are beginning to upset the Pittsburgh defense a little bit. They've been in 14 different sets if you count them going from left to right and the various distances that the men have been going in motion, which requires an accurate adjustment by the defensive team.
Steve Geis, 62 yards and 10 carries. Tony Dorsett watching. Score is tied at 7-7. 1st and 10 from their own 47, Penn State. Facina. Bob Drury. The 4th Penn State turnover. Facina tried to hit Rich Monty, and it's another interception. And for Bob Drury, his 8th of the year, tying a Pitt school record.
You can see how far across the field he came, cutting across, getting in the line of flight, making a good run down the sidelines, a 27-yard return by Drury, and as Chris said, his 8th interception of the year.
Tying Billy Reynolds, who did it in 1950 for the Panthers. Now, back-to-back interceptions. The Panthers have it near their own 40. 1st down, score tied at 7. Dorsett looked like he had a step, but it closed the door. Number 92, Rick Donaldson. Here's Pittsburgh's Steve Zabreski.
I was talking to Bobby Haygood, the Pitt quarterback, who was injured in the Georgia Tech game this year. He was in the locker room at halftime. He said Coach Majors told his team, we're better than Penn State. All we have to do is not lose our poise. It's a tight game, and mistakes are going to make the difference. He exhorted his team to do what he believes and they believe they can do. All right, Chris.
2nd down and 6. Dorsett 4 yards. He has the ball again. Dorsett. He is speed, 40 yards, 4-4. Consistently, and you saw a little of it right there as he gets into Penn State territory at the 49. A gain of 6 for Tony, and let's see, it's a first down for Pittsburgh.
And Dorsett appeared to twist an ankle just very, very slightly, limping as he went off the field, but he certainly did not appear to be hurt badly. I'd expect him to be out a play or two and come right back.
20 carries, 67 yards for Tony. Taking his place, Elliott Walker, who has the bad ankles, 34. Hutton carries from tailback. Nice move to the outside. The loose ball play was whistled dead at the 43 as we go again to Steve Zabriskie.
Tony Dorsett is off the field. Trainer Tim Caron of Pitt is working on his right calf. It appears to be just a cramp. They're having Tony take some salt pills, and they're putting some analgesic rub on it to get some heat on the cramped muscle. He's taking some salt pills. The Hawk is grounded right now, but they're working on him very feverishly to get him back into the game as soon as they can, while Pitt still has the ball. Back to you, Chris.
All right, Hutton 44, 34 Walker. Walker is the fullback, up close to the quarterback, 2nd and 4. And Walker just tripped a little bit as he took the handoff. Elliott Walker, the junior from Miami, Florida. Tom DePasso and Ron Crosby on the tackle as they continue to rub that calf of Tony Dorsett. Valuable property.
The rain has been just heavy enough to make the field very, very slick. The tartan turf, unless it rains very, very hard, does not absorb enough water to give you very good footing. And both teams have had misfortune of slipping considerable of the time tonight.
In this half, Pittsburgh 4 first downs, Penn State 2. Here's a 3rd and 4 for the Panthers. Getting the first down, Elliott Walker.
I'll tell you, Chris, he's supposed to be a great blocker, but he appears to be one fine runner as Tony Dorsett has shaken off that cramp and is ready to come back into the game.
Elliott Walker, who scored the only Pittsburgh touchdown in the 6-7 loss against Penn State last year, as Carson Long's point after was blocked. So now with the ball at the 38, it's a 1st and 10 for Pittsburgh. Dorsett still on the sideline. Jones and Taylor to the far side in a slot formation. Hutton now driving him mainly to the outside. The Pittsburgh Panthers have reached the 31. 7-yard gain. Crosby on the tackle.
Can't tell, Chris, whether the Penn State defense is beginning to get just a little bit weary. Pittsburgh has been running a great deal wide, and when you go wide, the defense has got to pursue. They've got to move 20 or 30 yards on every play. When you're on a wet field, and you slip as you start, it does slow you up just a share.
Dorsett is back in the lineup. Elliott Walker is out, 24. Jones is in the slot. The split end is Taylor on a 2nd and 3. First down, Tony Dorsett.
They kind of hit him that time, Chris. Had him lined up at fullback in the I formation. He's supposed to be at the tailback position.
Very leisurely, walking back. A quiet man, not sullen. The best way, I guess, to describe him, he has sort of muted flamboyance. Tony Dorsett. Major in the School of Communications. There's his coach, Johnny Majors, and Penn State's coach, Joe Paterno. The ball at the 23, 1st and 10 here in the 3rd quarter. The score tied. Kavanaugh, Dorsett, and Hutton threw a tremendous block on number 95, Tony DePasso, and Dorsett brings the ball inside the 20 to the 15 and a half. First down.
He's electrifying with total excitement. He's got that ability to accelerate when he turns it on, as we look at Lee Majors there. Tony Dorsett can pop it just any time, Chris, all the way.
Cheering the Pittsburgh Panthers on. 1st and 10 at the 15 and a half. This drive started at their own 40. Loose ball. Penn State recovers. The 3rd turnover, Pittsburgh. Joe Diminick of Mount Carmel, Pennsylvania, recovers a Hutton fumble at the 13 of Penn State.
Let's take a look at it again. Little trap play. Walker broke it to the outside. Didn't ever quite have good possession of the ball. It bounces out of his hands. He's supposed to hit that, Chris, about a yard further inside. He just didn't quite ever get it put away as it was ripped away there by number 75 of Penn State. and that was Randy Seidler.
From the 13, first down, Cepalo coming toward the backfield. Carrying is Geis. And several Panther defenders. Look at him. 21 coming up from his halfback position, Wilson. 58 was Kramer. And 35, Dave DeCiccio.
And you just don't expect to see 7 turnovers in the first 3 quarters in a game that has this much meaning. And I believe that it's the slipperiness of the turf where they just can't move with quite the precision that they'd like to on the start.
Again, the opportunity to work on the leg of Tony Dorsett. The defense has taken over after a fumble by Hutton. 2nd and 8 now for Penn State. 14 is Chuck Bucina, who threw a touchdown pass in the first quarter to Bob Torrey. 2nd and 8. Geis and Torrey are in the backfield. 46 is Fitzke in motion. Geis. Loose ball.
We're going to have a little excitement about that one, Chris, because the referee had blown the ball dead.
Of course, the Pittsburgh players motioning that they had recovered the ball. Larry Felder was there in a hurry for the Pitt defense as Torrey fumbled. But the ball now is at the 13.
Take a look at it again. He was on the ground before the ball bounced loose. 3rd down coming up. Joe Paterno, being the wise coach that he is going into punt formation. When you punt on 3rd down, you never can have quite the same degree of rush or return because the defensive team cannot be sure that you will kick the ball.
Let's see if Fitzke will be as effective as he was in the first half. Willie Taylor is deep. Fair catch at midfield. Just inside his own territory. A 37-yard punt on 3rd down for Penn State with a score tied at 7. 2:38 left in the quarter. Rain continues at Three Rivers Stadium. Pittsburgh has controlled the ball 8 minutes and 12 seconds here in the 3rd quarter. Penn State 4 minutes and 10 seconds. Score tied at 7. The ball near midfield. Pittsburgh. First down. Kavanaugh. Slot formation. Dorsett playing from the fullback spot. Takes people with him to the 43 of Penn State. Kurt Allerman on the tackle, joined by Ron Crosby.
Both coaches felt this would be a high-scoring game, Chris. 7-7, and the 3rd quarter almost over indicates that you never are positive what's going to happen before the game. I think, again, that the rain and the turnovers have had the major effect.
Now Dorsett is the deep back to the right of your screen on a 2nd and 3. There he goes. Going right for that stake on the far side, the forward stake. Did he get the first down? Bill Banks on the tackle. First down for the Panthers. Dorsett now 92 yards on 24 carries and 1 touchdown.
Those statistics are amazing because if you watch the whole game, it doesn't appear that Dorsett has really done a great deal, and yet he's nearing the 100-yard mark.
From Hopewell High School, Aliquippa, Pennsylvania, the home also of Henry Mancini. Now to the near side, we have Jones and Taylor. Kavanaugh is quarterbacked all the way. There he goes. So long. 40 yards. Tony Dorsett.
Lined up at fullback again, Chris, where they kind of overlooked him. Broke clean on the trap play, and once he's running freely in that secondary, it's goodbye, baby.
His 55th touchdown of his career, 40 yards. He has just broken Glenn Davis's record of most career points scored, 354. He is 1 away from tying Oklahoma's Steve Owen, who had 56 touchdowns in a brilliant career. So Pittsburgh breaks the deadlock. They have a 13-7 lead. Long now will try the point after. Here it is. Good. 50 yards in 3 plays thanks to a 40-yard scamper by Dorsett, one of 6 children of Wes and Myrtle Dorsett.
We were talking, Chris, sort of lulls you to sleep. Let's take a look at it again. He's the fullback. Just a straight opening play. Excellent blocking by the center, Paluski, and also by the guard, Carroll. That's Corbett coming across to bounce anybody who might get to him. And Tony knew when he broke past the linebackers there wasn't anybody going to catch him.
Tony Dorsett, who set one NCAA record on that run, tied another, 356 points in his career, breaking the record of Glenn Davis, 354. And he also tied Davis's record of 59 career touchdowns. So that run of 40 yards by Dorsett gives him 132 for the game. He's just tied 2 NCAA records held by Archie Griffin. Most 100-yard games in a season, 11. And most 100-yard games in a career, 33.
And he's ready to play some more. I don't think 7 points is going to hold up. They've got to put some more on the board.
The statistical avalanche for the Heisman Trophy candidate. Now Carson Long, who helped put his team ahead, will do the kicking. They call him the Sundance Kid. The punter, Larry Swider, is Butch Cassidy. They're pals. Still raining, as you see. Rich Motti for Penn State at the goal line. Coming out to the 5, 10. Rolls forward to the 16. What a game. 1:30 to go in the third quarter. Pittsburgh is in the lead, 14-7. Unbeaten and untied. Tomorrow here on ABC, we're proud to present another doubleheader. 12:30 Eastern, 11:30 Central. The Battle of the Service Academies, Army-Navy. From Philadelphia, Bill Fleming is there, Lee Groscup. Then to the Coliseum, the Fighting Irish of Notre Dame, and the second-ranked Trojans of USC, Keith Jackson and Ara Parsegian, on the scene, ready to go after a hard-working afternoon. Oklahoma, Nebraska. Oklahoma winning 20-17 in Lincoln today. 1st and 10 from the 15. Penn State's Bob Torrey.
This is the time, Chris, when Penn State has got to move the football. If they do not make a first down here and are forced to punt, Pittsburgh will have good field position and all that momentum going that the electrifying 40-yard run of Dorsett set in motion for them.
Scott Fitzke, the kicker, comes in as a flanker, replacing Jimmy Cepolo of Pittston, Pennsylvania. And he comes out here as a flanker now to the near side of the field at the bottom of your screen. Tom Donovan, 21, is the split end left. In the slot is Jones, and Ducino wants some yardage. Thrown behind Donovan. Double coverage on Donovan.
Had a very good rush also, Chris, by Holloway that time. And Ducino had just a little more time. I don't believe that he would have missed the throw.
Steve Zabriskie with a comment.
Okay, Chris, thank you. As the rain continues to fall, the footing becomes more and more critical. On your right, you see what is called the rain shoe. This is the shoe on the left that is usually worn on artificial turf. And you can see there is a big, big difference. This one is the one most players are wearing right now. Back to you, Chris.
All right, 3rd down and 6. Ducino of Penn State. Donovan running a pattern. The rush is on. And the sack by Randy Holloway.
It's as big a tackle as this Pittsburgh team has had in the years that Johnny Majors has been there. Instead of Penn State moving the ball, they caused them to come in now with about a 4th and 10 situation, and they will have fine field position. Pittsburgh will after the kick.
As I recall, that is Randy Holloway's 15th sack of the year of the quarterback. What a performance. Fitzke kicking now. Back deep, we have Willie Taylor inside the 50. Here's the end-over-end kick at the 49. About 4 yards, a 40-yard punt, and the Panthers leading 14-7. Get it at the Penn State 45, and they don't mind the rain.
They're very happy with it now, Chris. This Monday on ABC's NFL Monday Night Football, the Minnesota Vikings will be in Candlestick Park to play the San Francisco 49ers. Last weekend, the Vikes clinched their 8th Central Division title in 9 years. The Vikings' fortunes will be guided by quarterback Fran Tarkington, who holds nearly all of the NFL's career passing records. The 49ers by the great Jim Plunkett, a former Heisman Trophy winner.
All right, from near the 45, first down for Pittsburgh. Elliott Walker is in the backfield. Dorsett.
And Joe Paterno said this afternoon when I was talking to him, Chris, that what makes Dorsett so very tough is that your people start, they're fresh, but as the game goes along and they just get a little bit weary, Dorsett seems to pick up speed, and that's exactly what's happening here as the third quarter comes to a close.
Pittsburgh 140 yards, Penn State 24 yards in this quarter, and that was the last play of the third quarter. with number 1 ranked Pittsburgh leading Penn State 14-7. We'll be back for the fourth quarter after this.
Everybody needs a little smile to make the road ahead more fun. Someone to say, hey, have a nice day. Everybody needs to walk in the sun.
At Mellon Bank, we help you do more with your money, with banking services and people who work harder for you. That's Mellon Banking.
Everybody needs to walk in the sun.
Mellon Banking helps you do more with your money.
Channel 4, your action news station.
Two of American college football coaches whose jobs are assured. Very successful. Joe Paterno of Penn State, Johnny Majors. Rumors being that he was going back to his alma mater of Tennessee. No word on that, Bud.
Johnny Majors challenging the supremacy of Penn State here in the East.
Dorsett.
Chris.
Gary Peter Kuski saved a 6-point run by Tony Dorsett, and incidentally, on the previous run ending the third quarter, Dorsett gained 10 yards. He has now rushed for 6,000 yards in his career, becoming the first back in NCAA history to reach, well, it seems an impossible number of yards in a career, Bud.
I've seen a lot of great ones, and you always wind up wondering, is he as good as O.J. Simpson? In college, his record has been every bit as good.
Now he has 6,018 yards and more. A few more. From the Penn State 17, he is colored by Ron Crosby and Tom DePasso, number 95. Slowly getting up.
I didn't catch that.
He doesn't rush around getting back to the huddle, conserves his energy, but when the ball moves, he puts it all together. And as I mentioned earlier, the defensive team begins to lose a little bit of their quickness, and Dorsett seems to gain quickness. And this is what, of course, Joe Paterno mentioned at halftime. How much longer can we contain Dorsett?
Johnny Majors, his team with a 2nd and 5 at the Penn State 12. Now Dorsett has broken a single-season rushing record, 1,881 yards, previously held by Ed Marinaro of Cornell. Elliott Walker, touchdown! With 14 minutes and 5 seconds left in the game, a hobbling Elliott Walker goes in.
Anytime, Chris, that you get everybody looking at Dorsett, as Penn State was doing that time, you leave it open for the trap up the middle. Walker, bad ankles and all, hit almost with as much speed as Dorsett had.
14:05 of the final period. Carson Long, Slider holding, and markers are everywhere.
There's an old saying, if you're going to miss the count, why, you might as well miss it big, and Peter Kuski really did miss it big. He went all the way through the backfield.
Pittsburgh with drives of 41 yards, 50 yards, and now 55 yards for their third touchdown. Half the distance to the goal line.
And you wonder, should you go for 2, Chris, when you only got to go 1.5 yards? That's what Pittsburgh's thinking about at the moment.
The last win over Penn State was in 1965. A last-second field goal by Frank Clark. Pittsburgh winning at 30-27. Long's point after up, and you call it. So 14:05 left in the game, and unbeaten and untied, Pittsburgh leads 21-7. We'll be back. We're looking at the Coach of the Year in 1968, Joe Paterno, great leader of young men, who has Robert Browning's philosophy of man's reach should exceed his grasp, or what's a heaven for it? Well, right now he's trailing 7-21.
He's playing against a very veteran Pittsburgh team. Most of these boys have played with each other for 4 years. Joe Paterno has a very young team that's going to come on very strong in the future, and they're not out of this one yet.
And there is Long's kick. Monty looking at it at the 1. Coming out now to the 10. Loose ball! Pittsburgh player grabbing the arm of Monty. The ball squirted loose, and let's see. Recovered by the Nittany Lions. So they will have a 1st and 10 at about the 15, trailing 7-21. Watch.
Long gets that ball way up in the air. You can see how fast the coverage is downfield. The ball is torn loose from him. Pitt people are going for it. Penn State finally making the recovery. Kubis, a very important play for Penn State. If they had not made the recovery there, it almost racked this game up.
Penn State has not scored since the first quarter. 21-yard pass play. Jusina, who's quarterbacking now, to Bob Torrey. 1st and 10 from the 15. Jusina, Cepalo, over his head and an interception. Bob Jury sets a Pittsburgh record with his 9th interception of the year. Bob Jury.
Johnny Major said that this defensive secondary of his was down. We have a penalty flag down on the field, Chris, but it was against, obviously, Penn State, so the penalty will be refused as we take a look at Jury again making the interception.
Penalty decline. Pittsburgh now will take over. They have come up with 21 points now, keeping Penn State scoreless since the first quarter. Johnny Majors wet from the continuing drizzle that we've had since the start of the game, and the Panthers have it just inside the Penn State 30, 13:37 left in the game. To this side of the field, Taylor and Jones. Jones in the slot.
Majors may be a little bit wet, but he's going to radiate some happiness as we look at him there, trying to get another one on the board.
Let's go to Steve Zabriskie.
Thank you, Chris. One of the big questions around this game is, where will Johnny Majors go? Will he go to Tennessee? Will he stay here at Pitt? Bob Woodruff, the Tennessee athletic director, has contacted Kaz Myslinski, the Pitt athletic director, this week in regards to talking to Majors. They have not yet talked to Majors, but they said they will when the regular season is over. Southeast Conference letters of intent are due December 11th. Tennessee wants a coach quickly, and they want Majors. They'll probably talk to him right after this game. Chris?
Elliot Walker trying to get outside, number 34, but Joe Diminick, number 30, and number 92, Rick Donaldson, stopped him.
And those last two plays show you the character of this Penn State team. Stage absolutely set for them to fold. 2 touchdowns behind. They throw the interception. The last 2 possessions, Pitt had scored, and on 2 snaps, they've stopped them dead. Let's see if they can do it the 3rd time.
Winning tradition at Penn State for years and years. Jones and Taylor to the near side. 3rd and 7. Dorsett cut from behind by number 53, the senior Kurt Allerman. The native of New Jersey. A loss on the play of 3 yards, so it's 4th down and 10. Carson Long, who tried a 31-yard field goal in the second quarter, failing, will now try one from the 30, the hash mark of the 37 plus the 10 of the end zone, 47 yards, a little right to left angle. Larry Swider, Butch Cassidy of that combination. Walk around, snap, the kick is up, 47 yards. Good! 24-7. Carson Long.
You men think you know everything about your car? Okay. How many oil filters does it have?
Carson Long, a 47-yard field goal. Pittsburgh leading 24-7. And Bud, quite a defensive stand by the Penn State defense, forcing the field goal.
That was tradition, pride, the thing that has made the Nittany Lions the dominant team in the East for the past 10 years. The stage was set for them to fold after that interception. They just geared up and didn't give them a thing.
Freshman Mike Gooman is the deepest of the potential receivers, number 24. Long's foot goes into the ball. It's deep. Gooman looking at it. Wisely downs it in the end zone. It'll come out to the 20. We go to the sideline, and Steve Zabriskie.
Thank you, Chris. One of the big differences in this game in the second half, as I'm sure you know, is that Tony Dorsett has broken loose and the Pitt offense has really come on. At halftime, Pitt made some adjustments. In the first half, Penn State was stunning their linebackers, shooting the gap and trying to get to the quarterback, Kavanaugh, before he could get the ball and disrupt the option play. Pitt has made some adjustments in the offensive line and also in their backfield pitch scheme to eliminate that mistake. And it has certainly worked for them. Okay, Chris.
Johnny Majors. 1st and 10 now. Suey and Gooman are the backs. Gooman on the carry. The freshman from Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, stopped by Randy Holloway at the shoe top. From the 20, Gooman gets the first down for Penn State. 11:41 left in the game. Pittsburgh leading 24-7. For Gooman, 22 yards, 6 carries.
He's one of the freshmen that Joe Paterno says are among the best young players that he's ever coached, following in the footsteps, of course, of Lenny Moore, Gino Capiletti, and Franco Harris, who we've already seen tonight here in Pittsburgh.
Yusina is a sophomore, number 14. And Gooman again has nice moves, weaving his way to the 38. Ernie Wetherington of Miami, Florida, 59, and Dave DeCiccio in on the tackle. There's a look at Gooman.
He's got 3 more very happy years that'll make Joe Paterno very happy.
Changing of footballs here on a moist night. Drizzle continues here at Three Rivers Stadium. The ball is at the 39, 2nd down and 5. Gooman and Torrey the setbacks. Torrey, who scored the only Penn State touchdown on a pass from Fusina, 21 yards. James Kramer makes the tackle, number 58 of Pittsburgh.
Penn State thought that they could throw the ball effectively against the Pittsburgh team. Joe Paterno believed that that was going to be the key to moving the football, but thus far the interceptions have been the dominant plays for the Pitt Panthers defensively.
Big play for Penn State, 3rd down and 1. And getting the first down, Mike Gooman, the freshman. James Kramer, back-to-back tackles on Gooman, as Penn State now has moved out to its own 47. Turnovers 5 for Penn State. Pittsburgh with 3.
And every turnover costs you at least 40 yards, so when you figure statistically, that's 200 that they've given away.
Yusina. Beautiful catch by Scott Fitzke of Red Lion, Pennsylvania, the punter. Scott is a sophomore.
You won't ever see a better thrown ball than this either. You've seen it dropping straight back, looks a little bit to the right, sets, and he had something on this one. That ball was zinged through there. Fitzke perfectly in stride, made the catch.
25 yards on the play. The ball now at the 28 of Pittsburgh. Gooman at the 25, a gain of 3, 2nd and 7 coming up. 9:38 left in the game. Pittsburgh leading 24-7.
And we were talking about the caliber of morale and tradition of the Penn State defensive team, and the offense has picked up a little bit from it. Started this drive on their own 20.
The far inside now in the slot. Fitzke outside, split end, Donovan. 2nd and 7. Gooman.
That's up.
Gooman to the 23. Felder, 37, on the tackle. Third down now and 5 for the Nittany Lions. Dorsett, who has 2 touchdowns tonight, has broken several records nationally and his own school, Pittsburgh. Penn State now 6 of 13 third down conversions. Here's another try.
They'll go for 4th down if they don't make it here. Beautiful play by DeCiccio.
DeCiccio, 35, busting through. He's from Upper St. Clair, Pennsylvania, a sophomore. So that brings up a 4th down. The ball is back at the 41. That's a loss of 18. 4th down and 23. Scott Fitzke, the punter, is in.
Screen pass called. You're not supposed to get rushed that hard on the screen, Chris, because you're supposed to block him out and then let him come second, but he came absolutely free.
8:10 remaining in the game. Pittsburgh leading 24-7. Back again at Three Rivers Stadium in Pittsburgh. Confluence of the Allegheny, the Monongahela, forming the Ohio. An area of 720 bridges. We're across the bridge from the Golden Triangle for this game. Fitzke punting on 4th down and 23, getting it up high. Taylor is deep, hoping that it'll go into the end zone. Penn State trying to knock it out. Number 30, Joe Deminick. A 41-yard punt, and now unbeaten. An untied Pittsburgh Panthers. Joe Paterno, the Penn State coach. A lot of problems up to this point.
And the last picture we had of Tony Dorsett, he was looking at the scoreboard to see how much time was left, wondering how many more chances he'd have to carry the football. Coming up at the conclusion of today's game will be the announcement of the Chevrolet scholarship winners for the outstanding offensive and defensive players of this game. $1,000 scholarship awarded in the player's name to the General Scholarship Fund of the university.
I bet I can guess your offensive choice up to now.
I think that most everybody else will agree with this, Chris. There won't be too much doubt about it.
Right. Tony Dorsett, number 33, carrying on the play from his own 20 for a couple of yards. Bruce Clark, another the Penn State freshman from Newcastle, Pennsylvania, on the tackle. So it'll be a 2nd down and 8. He's a dapper young fellow.
He certainly is. He maybe go to the movies like O.J. did. And also like Jimmy Brown did after a little
Well, he's a major in communications, like Len Swan of the Steelers was, who's leaving us now to get ready for the next game. Okay. 2nd and 8 from the 22. Dorsett across the 25 to the 27, picking up 5. Trucio of Levittown on the tackle.
Dorsett's a very durable player, Chris. The further the game goes, the faster he seems to be, and I believe it's a result of the other people slowing up just a little bit, and he doesn't slow up at all. He maybe just gets warmed up and moves faster.
32 carries, 173 yards, and 2 touchdowns for the Aliquippa, Pennsylvania star, Dorsett. 3rd and 3 now for the Panthers. Dorsett, Walker blocking.
Baby.
Look out. Look at that. Walker, as he's done throughout Dorsett's career, blocks, and Dorsett goes 43 yards. He now has picked up 216 yards. Watch this one.
Look at him turn the speed on as Walker knocks the corner man out. Dorsett slows down, looks upfield, decides that he can cut back and take it all the way. And he almost did. But we had a fine defensive play by Donaldson, the freshman linebacker, who was in hot pursuit.
So now from the 31 of Penn State, 1st down. Elliott Walker, who threw that beautiful block, the 2nd time he's done that tonight for Dorsett. Got to carry the ball that time and picks up 3 yards to the 28. 2nd down and 7. There is Dorsett. Needs 1 more touchdown.
This Pittsburgh team, Chris, is looking at that number 1 rating. They like it. They want to keep it. Doesn't come to you very often.
First time since 1937 that they have been top ranked. 2nd and 7. Dorsett. Bill Banks on the tackle, and again a nifty block thrown by Elliott Walker, number 34. Dorsett getting up a little slow, carrying to the 23. That's a gain of 5, so it'll be 3rd down and 2 for Pittsburgh. 5:25 left in the game, 24-7. Pittsburgh in the lead.
Well, don't you believe that getting up slow of Dorsett means anything? He's just trying to make the defense believe that he's as tired as they are, and that is not true.
The final regular season game for Dorsett. Of course, he'll go with the Panthers to the Sugar Bowl to meet Georgia here on ABC January 1. Dorsett again, did he get the 1st down? 1st down inside the 20. Crosby on the tackle.
When you look back, Chris, over the great runners, I remember Mike Garrett of Southern California, one that scared me to death. You've had Franco Harris, of course, Lenny Moore of Penn State, Capoletti of Penn State, and O.J. Simpson, the incomparable runner. I don't believe that anyone at this stage in their career has ever had any more ability than Dorsett, and certainly the records prove that each year he's improved himself a little bit, and he simply is a tremendous ball carrier.
3 times in the Heisman voting, 16th, 11th, and last year 4th. Kurt Ollerman makes the tackle on the quarterback on a keeper, Matt Cavanaugh, who has done a great job for the Pittsburgh Panthers. Matt Cavanaugh. You remember, he's a junior from Youngstown, Ohio, 6'2", 209 pounds.
Just giving you a quick recap, Tony Dorsett has become the first college back to gain 6,000 yards He's broken the single-season rushing record of 1,881 yards, previously held by Ed Marinero. Broken Glenn Davis's career touchdown marks, and now holds the career points mark.
And here he is carrying again. Lots of traffic on a 2nd down and 8 from the Penn State 16. Got any more records he's broken, Bud?
Well, he's tied Archie Griffiths for the most 100-yard games. And once you're over that 100-yard mark, you can't improve that.
So now with the ball at the 17, it's going to be a 3rd down and 9. The Panthers lost a yard on that play. Kavanaugh, who took over when Bob Haygood was injured in the Georgia Tech game, now sends Taylor 29, Jones 24 to the far side, the top of your screen. 3rd and 9. And this time, Bill Banks, who has had a great defensive game, forces Dorsett out of bounds and tacks a loss of approximately 3 yards. 4th down now and 12. Now to Steve Zabriskie.
Randy Rudishan, number 19 for the Pitt Panthers, who's their kamikaze guy on special teams, has re-injured his left foot. He probably has, they think, a hairline fracture of his left foot, a couple of bones on the outside of his left foot. It's an old injury, but Randy is questionable now for the bowl game, Sugar Bowl against Georgia. Chris?
A 37-yard try by Carson Long, faking it. Swider throws into the end zone to Corbett. Well, on a 4th down and 12, Swider, the holder, a fake field goal intended for Corbett to no avail. The score is still 24-7, 3:09 left in the game.
You wouldn't expect it.
You're looking at Tony Dorsett. Steve Zabriskie is down there. Number 1. Both sides. What a player. After a fake field goal attempted pass, Penn State takes over at the 20. Carrying on the play, Matt Suey, one of the 3 Suey brothers on the Penn State roster. And let's go to Steve Zabriskie.
Chris, I'm down here on the pit bench with Tony Dorsett, who just came out of the game. Harry Jones, the offensive backfield coach, came over to the Hawk and asked him, if we get the ball back, Tony, do you want to go back in and get a shot at 2,000 yards this season? Tony Dorsett said, yeah, you betcha. If the Panthers get the ball back, Dorsett may be ready to break yet another record. Chris?
Okay, thank you. Penn State with the ball, 2nd down and 6 now from the 24. They started at their 20. Suey in the lineup, number 32, along with Torrey, 39. Chuck Fusina. A bomb intended for Tom Donovan. And back covering was Wilson and Jury.
I've got to mention once again about the pride and tradition of this Penn State defense. Previous possession, Pittsburgh marched from their own 20 to the Penn State 20, and once again the Nittany Lions dug in and stopped them. Fake field goal failed.
What an exciting football season, Bud, and it continues here on ABC tomorrow. Army-Navy, JFK Stadium, 12:30 Eastern, 11:30 Central, and then followed by a heck of a game, the Trojans of Southern California and vastly improved Notre Dame. 3rd and 6. Fusina hits Donovan. He's inbounds. Tom Donovan pulls it in at the 47. 1st down for the Nittany Lions. 2:11 remaining in the game. Pittsburgh leading 24-7.
And a very fine reaction here by Fusina. He rolls it out, looks downfield. Very hard rush by Holloway. Fusina on the dead run pulls the ball back and finds the split receiver Donovan open. Donovan makes the catch. Excellent throw.
Fusina 8 of 16, 111 yards and 1 touchdown. On the draw, Matt Suey, the freshman, carrying the colors of the Suey family, which Bud related to you earlier. And he gets inside the Panther 35. Al Chesley made the tackle as Coach Johnny Majors playing a lot of folks now. There's a good look at Suey.
He's got a few more years ahead of him too, Chris. Penn State has had this 10-year dominance of the East. The first time that they have lost to the Panthers in 10 years. They've got a lot of young players, and they'll be back.
Fusina, the chase on, and number 70, Randy Holloway, sack number 16 this year for that great lineman from Sharon, Pennsylvania, a junior.
I've got to be very impressed with him, Chris. 6'6", 240 pounds. He's been dominating.
And Fusina is hurt on the play, coming to the near sideline. The loss is back to the 47. It'll be 2nd and 23. And Doug Hostetler, number 15, a sophomore, will replace Fusina.
He's another one of the brothers. His brother, Ron, is a linebacker for Penn State, but is hurt, not played tonight.
Hostetler wisely carries it and stops the clock with 45 seconds to go in the 76th meeting between these interstate rivals. Penn State of State College, where Dr. John Oswald is the president, and here in Pittsburgh, Dr. Wesley Posver is the chancellor.
And I know Chris Johnny Majors is a very happy man right now. Very seldom do you go undefeated. You go into the final game of the season against your arch rival, a team that is effectively coached, as you know it will be, by Joe Paterno. You do win to climax your total objectives for the season.
Penn State has won 10 in a row, so this will be the first time Paterno's team has been defeated by Pitt. Long pass intended for number 46, Fitzke of Red Lion, Pennsylvania. And there you see the time remaining in red to the left of Penn State, 39. Sure is. And Tuesday, that should be verified by the many people that vote on the Heisman Trophy. Unfortunately, Bud and I, who've seen more college games in the last 11 years than anyone, don't get a vote. So we're impartial. Okay. 4th down. Hostetler, his arm was hit. Nevertheless, caught by Cephalon of Pittston, Pennsylvania, up by Scranton, where he's a real hero, a junior that'll be back next year. Holloway hitting the arm of Hostetler. So the ball goes over on downs. And the Panthers have one more crack at it, leading 24-7. They're unbeaten, untied. It's great after nearly 40 years to be at that spot after a great football season for them.
And we have Tony Dorsett coming back on the field. Johnny Majors, his coach, the Pittsburgh team are going to try to block him for one more big run to see if they can put him over that 2,000-yard mark for the season. He needs 53 yards to do it.
And he needs one more touchdown to break a couple of records. Another Glenn Davis record and a record of Steve Owens of Oklahoma, who was out watching Nebraska-Oklahoma today. Here's Dorsett. Walker blocking. And Dorsett taking the long stride, but Bill Banks, number 85, was on top of him. Tony Dorsett, who really has the low profile on the field. He's going to be hard to find if he should turn professional, I'll tell you.
And I would guess that he will turn professional with the skills that he possesses. He fumbled the ball, I guess. We're counting it down, Chris.
There are the players, many of them in high school because they were recruited in Pennsylvania, shaking hands, congratulating, commiserating with one another because they were high school teammates, high school opponents. And now tonight, for many, their final regular season game as a collegian. It's the 76th game, and it's the first win in 11 years for the Pitt Panthers over Penn State, 24-7, Bud, and I know you're impressed.
I certainly am, and our Chevrolet outstanding players, the offensive player of the game, without any question, of course, Tony Dorsett. We've talked all evening about his records. The defensive player of the game, number 31, the safety man for Pittsburgh, Bob Jury.
Now this has the series 37 for Penn State, 36 wins for Pitt. We'll be back.
This child.
Amen to that sign here at Three Rivers Stadium. Incredible, 6,082 yards for the player from Alquippa, Pennsylvania. And today the NCAA saluted the Chevrolet division, the General Motors Company, for going over the $500,000 mark over the years and presenting $1,000 scholarships, Bud, to the many offensive and defensive players of the game. Bob Cook accepting it for Chevrolet. And now tonight, here are our two choices for offensive and defensive players.
Tony Dorsett carried the ball 38 times, picked up 224 yards. Bob Jury, going into the game, had 7 interceptions. He intercepted 2 more tonight for 9 interceptions. He was the key player on defense for Pittsburgh, as was Tony Dorsett, who you see there, the outstanding offensive player. Jury is a junior who will be back again next year for the Panthers.
$1,000 for each player goes to the General Scholarship Fund. Only a plaque with each player's name on it will be in the halls of the University of Pittsburgh here in this beautiful western Pennsylvania city. 24-7, the final score. Dorsett, the record setting, leading an unbeaten, untied team to victory for the first time in 11 years over Penn State.